Hey, good day to everybody. This is my dust cover bed class that I would like to discuss and how I apply it and how I build it up step by step. So right now in BMT, beds aren't the best and they could be a lot better. So hopefully through this video, I could help you, in fact, everybody that's around you, and how to make the application time for trainees more effective. So the very first thing I do is I take a silver Sharpie and I mark the head side of every single bed. Just a line. If it's in the center all side of the wall locker side, just one little line on the frame of the bed. Now some people might say, is that a D demerit? I'm like, no, it's not even dirt. It's not dirt. And when you talk about, unauthorized item, it's not an item. It's a marking. So I just do it as a visual aid to help the trainees know what the head side of the bed is and what the foot end of the bed is. So when it comes down to bed application, it's a lot easier to set it all up. Another thing that I do is I also mark the inspection side of the bed, the 24-inch mark. So first I'll ground the mattress to the center aisle, and then I'll take a ruler 24 inches, and I always tell the trainees, do not go over this. I'd rather be a little bit further in towards the pillow, but that's a good gauge on, as you're looking at everything. If it goes over, you're like what are you doing? I have a line there for a reason. All right, so now I just established how I'm going to set up the areas. They strip the beds except for the mattress cover, and they place it on the chair, blanket, sheet. Maybe the pillowcase will be under everything. It really doesn't matter at this point. Hopefully the pillowcase is already on the pillow. Pillow is probably on top of the wall lockers. It doesn't matter. Just worry about the blankets and the pillows right now. So mattress covers. I'm going to blow some of your minds. But I just flatten it out and I just move on. In the class, if you're going to teach a formal class, go ahead and tighten it down. So let's talk about if you're doing a class. So an instructor preference way of doing this is to tip the mattress, roll it under the bed. Now, I've seen a couple different ways, and the most effective way of doing this is don't roll it in the middle of the mattress, because as you try to put it down, it's going to unravel itself because you get your hands off the sheets. I do it at the very end, hold it with another wingman, tilt my hands this way, so I'm holding it like this, and then I just hold the roll and leave the roll, in a roll, and then let it rest on the roll, the mattress on the roll, so it doesn't loosen up. But as soon as you start tucking things under the bed, it's going to loosen up anyway, which is why I say, hey, don't even worry about it. So you're never going to see, and I want you to put this to the test, a mattress cover. You won't be able to see it wrinkled under the layers of sheets and blankets. You're just not going to see it. I've tried it before. So to each its own. You do you. This is what I do. Flatten out the mattress cover. All right, bottom sheet. You're going to tuck it under the head side of the bed. So how I'm staying on the head side of the bed. Make sure it's draped evenly over the bed. So make sure it can cover the foot and the head of the mattress at the same time. If it's like 6 inches off, you probably need to turn it 90 degrees to make sure the head and the foot are completely covered. Now, what if you have sheets that are just short? I always keep sheets in my civilian luggage, like a bundle, so I can just say, here, take this, and then I'll turn the other one into PP Supply, the short one, say, hey, this one's unserviceable, it's way too short. I do the same thing with blankets too. So I have a bundle or two upstairs ready to go for the swap. And if I don't remember to bring a bundle upstairs, I'll grab from the unoccupied beds, but you got to remember to remake those beds. All right, so they put the sheet on. Have enough to tuck. It's so important. I tuck at least a palm to the elbow under the bed. I'm not going to care if it's 6 inches from the edge of the mattress. I'm just not going to care. Or 12 inches. I'm not going to care. So the bottom sheet is supposed to be even. But sometimes these sheets are too short, where having enough to tuck is more important than making it even with the mattress. So, and plus it's under a whole bunch of blankets. They're not going to unearth it to see if you actually apply the bottom sheet. You can talk about integrity all you want to, but not all sheets are created equal. So I always tell them, hey, 12 inches. Get in the habit of 12 inches. Have enough to tuck. If the sheet is too long, they need to swap it out. So sometimes in the bundles, you'll have queen size sheets in there. Remember, the linen services all of Lackland Air Force Base, to all the billeted and everything like that. So sometimes you'll get a queen or a king size on this little single bed. You just got to swap it out. That's simple as that. But I always make sure I have enough to tuck. So elbow to about the palm under the bed. And then to measure 12 inches, I'll tell them to put the elbow on the corner of the bed and go hi-ya. And wherever your hand is, you come straight down and you just flip it right on top of the mattress to get that hospital corner on top. Now you have to pull the hospital corner all the way on top of the bed until it stops. Because if you don't, when you bring it down for a landing and tuck it in for your hospital corner, it'll droop. So make sure it stops. So a little tiny little tug on both sides. Hi-ya. Pull it, drape it. Now, it's supposed to be a right angle. If it's a right angle and it's perpendicular to the ground, so that means it's straight up and down and the angle is like this. If it's perpendicular to the ground, that means it's a slope right here on the angle is going to be 45 degrees. So that's super important to make sure that it's parallel to the ground to create that 45 degree angle. Now, when it comes to the excess, remember, the excess is an identifier or how much you tucked under the bed. So you have a lot of excess. They tucked way too much under the bed. But most of the time, they're not going to have enough to tuck. And then when they bring the hospital corner on top of the bed, sir, I don't have any excess. And that's because you don't have enough to tuck. I told you, a palm to an elbow underneath the bed. So some trainers will do that. And it's good for them to make mistakes early and now. So be patient when you apply. Now you tuck at an angle because you want it. So you want when you tuck at an angle, you want to tuck towards the opposite corner so it hugs the corners of the mattress so the sheet is nice and tight. And then as you bring it down, the whole sheet down, make sure it keeps its shape. Tuck a little bit, then pull from the very end. Don't tuck a little bit and pull from the middle. Tuck a little bit, pull a little bit. Tuck a little bit, pull a little bit. Tuck a little bit, pull a little bit. All the way down. And what that's going to do is it's going to get the vertical wrinkles out of the bed. So I normally, when they're making beds, I'm like, tuck a little bit, pull a little bit. And they echo it. They love it. Don't ever forget it. And that's all I'm focused on. It's going to make your sheet really, really tight. Now for the bottom sheet, when they're making their beds, spend 90 to 2 minutes on your bottom sheet and that's it. Because I'm never going to see the bottom sheet under the top sheet, top blanket. I'm just not going to see it. But as long as you get about 85% there, your bed is still going to be awesome. So just remember, tuck at an angle for your excess, and then as you bring it down for a landing, tuck a little bit, pull a little bit, tuck a little bit, pull a little bit, tuck a little bit, pull a little bit. I'm talking about from the end, from the very end, slight tug. Trainers, what they'll do is sometimes they'll pull too hard, and the whole thing, like the ankles start going crooked. You're like, dude, you're pulling too hard. Stop. It's a small tug. You're tugging to get the wrinkles out. Stop it. So some trainees will, the men, they ain't gonna get it. All right, so that's done. Now they're gonna tuck in the top sheet, top blanket under the foot end of the bed. This is the moneymaker. Now, when it comes to application, what I would have them practice is the bottom sheet. Give them 3 minutes, then give them 2 minutes, then give them 90 seconds, just to get the angle going and everything like that. So you can call it bed. I call it bed application because they're number one, they're not in wingman, so it can't be a bed proficiency tool without a wingman. I I want them to make their own bed. I want them to make their own mistakes. So me, individually, I can go around making sure that everybody understands how to make a bed. Then later on, we can talk about the wingman concept. So as soon as I run about 4 or 5 reps with just the bottom sheet and making all these corrections, and then I'll move on to the top sheet, top blanket, tucking in the foot into the bed in the same manner as the bottom sheet though. So have enough to tuck, about palm to elbow, have enough to tuck, and then hiya, and then grab and bring it up, create the right angle so that that slope is 45 degrees, bring it down for a landing, and you're gonna realize that when they bring it down for a landing, tuck a little bit, pull a little bit, it's gonna be a lot easier than the bottom sheet. Here's what I want you to look out for. Before you tuck in the sheet and the blanket at the same time, pull the sheet and flatten out the sheet under it so it doesn't like bulge up underneath the blanket. So I'll tell them to pull the sheet before you tuck it, and they'll echo it, and they're pulling the sheet down before they tuck the sheet and the blanket at the same time. And it's tuck a little bit, pull from the end. Tuck a little bit, just pull from the end. Pull enough to get the up and down wrinkles out. That's all they have to do, and it doesn't take much. Now, what I'll do is I'll stop right there, and I'm talking about crazy amount of reps. So I'll say, all right, you have 15 minutes to do top sheet, top blanket by yourself. I give them a lot of time so they can make mistakes, so they can put the blanket on wrong and learn from that, and put the sheet on wrong so they can learn from it. If they're tucking on the wrong end of the mattress, I want them to make that mistake now. So I'm talking about like 4 hours of bed application practice all together. You have to make it worth it. You have to make it worth it. So for this right here, they're gonna do like 4 or 5 sets of top sheet, top blanket. In between the sets, I want to provide feedback, and I'm gonna be like, hey, good job here. Hey, good job here. Hey, you're doing it. Hey, you are on the wrong side. It's over here. And then I'll make sure that there's no wrinkles. Now, how do I get the blanket tight? For the bedpan beds, I'll roll it like a mattress cover under the bed. So I'll start maybe a foot away from the hospital corner, and I'll walk my way to the head side of the bed. So I'm rolling, like I'm throttling under the bed. And I'm creating a roll underneath the mattress so the mattress can sit on it, and then it stays nice and tight. So I'm rolling, I'm pulling, rolling, pulling all the way down on one side of the bed. Another way you could do it is you can wave it out. So you apply pressure, and then you create a whole bunch of wrinkles here, and you tuck that underneath the bed. It's easier for the spring beds for that type. So I'm talking about like the 22nd, the 26th, if they have the regular springs, or whatever the case is. So that's how I get it tight. So spandex tight is what I'm talking about. Spandex tight. Spandex tight, spandex tight. And after that, then I'll start talking about the dust cover on the pillow. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't even tuck that gosh darn pillow. I'll tell them to put it right on that top of that bed and cover it up with that blanket, because they're not gonna unearth it. Yeah, I know. Integrity first. I get it. You know, you could tell me all day. But if I'm looking at a DIPS evaluation, you will never see it. Matter of fact, pillow's not even on the DIPS evaluation. So I'm like, that's just me though. My bad. If I'm a bad impression for all you leaders out there, or all you standing people that are looking at this right now. It's just what I do. And I'm always told that my beds are rocking it. So I'm doing something right, I guess. Now, I get all the smiles out of my dust covers. It's not mandatory, but it looks so good. So I pee it. So I'll tell trainees to pull, like, so one on this side, one on this side, and they're pulling, and they're getting it nice and straight. And then they create that excess to pull it, and then whoever has the most wrinkles will tuck their side, and then they'll lock it down for the other person to tuck that side. And what that does is the dust cover is going to hover over the 341, where it won't even touch the 341. It's that tight. So I didn't talk about the dust cover and the way to do it, but just make sure they tuck at an angle, have enough to tuck. If you have the wool blankets, you have to make sure that if you have the wool blankets, you might have to offset it, because the wool blankets have been washed and put on beds for like 50 years. So it's going to be very difficult. What I try to do is I try to get as many checkered blankets as I can, the cotton ones, and I'll put all the wool blankets on the unoccupied beds. Now, the wool blankets, they do look nice when they're all tight and everybody's on the wool blankets. It does look good, I'm not going to lie. They're thicker, so they hide more wrinkles better. But if the flight is disciplined, they listen to you, and you tuck a little bit, pull a little bit, it's going to be money. So here how I do bed application when everybody's starting to really understand. I'll say 15 minutes, top sheet, top blanket, take it off. I'll do one more set, top sheet, top blanket, pull it off. 1x3s, utilize latrine. Hey, EC, monitors, get on shift. Nobody evacuate. Let's watch the EC monitors do a fire drill. And then after about 2 or 3 more, and it's not a fire gas bomb, nobody's evacuating. We're going over how it's going to look. So early weeks of training, they need to see what everybody's doing. So this really helps give them a visual demonstration. And then after they go, then rosters 1 and 2 will go, and I'll have the EC monitors make sure they're doing it. And every 2 sets of bed application, not a bed drill, I'm applying. Everybody's getting practice. They're hearing the EC going. And then maybe I'll evacuate. I'll say, okay, everybody, we're going to act like we're evacuating. So when they say fire, fire, fire this time, I want everybody to be selfish. Evacuate single file line, right out. But I always clear the latrine first. I'll make sure, hey, is there anybody in the latrine? That's usually the signal. Hey, clear everybody out of the latrine. Because I don't want the ECs to get confused if somebody's in there. They have to wait or whatever. I had that happen once. So now I clear the latrine. And if I say, hey, clear latrine, that's usually a sign, hey, we got to shut our mouths because we know what's coming. Anyways. And then now apply the whole bed after a couple sets, and it's looking really good. Now apply everything together. So now you're like, all right, we're going to make the whole bed, A bay versus B bay. And whoever can make all the beds that are occupied without any wrinkles in it, and the 45 degrees are really good, I'm going to add a 5-minute phone call, sorry. A 5-minute phone call to the to your call. So everybody's motivated. But this is what I would tell you. I would tell you that if the beds look amazing, they look great, give them that extra 5 minutes. Just give it to them. Because if they deserve it, they deserve it. The whole goal is to make sure in the 3rd week of training, there's no wrinkles in anything. All right, so let's talk about the 341s on the bed. So I get cardstock, and I'll print a whole bunch out on cardstock. If you need a copy or a digital copy of it, I got some. Just somebody knows me, somebody has my information, so I can send you the digital copy of the 341s. But I keep the cardstock on there, and I write in blue. Because 341s can be in blue or black. So I like to be a little different. But also, if I see a blue 341 on their person, I'm like, where'd you get this one from? And then I have to run back upstairs to make sure they fill out the 341. Because all the blue ones are the ones that I looked at. So if anybody comes in my dorm, nobody's going to tell me they're missing a roster number. Because I checked all the 341s. All of them. That go on their bed or on their night display. Because that cardstock is going to go from bed to night display chair. Back to the bed, night display chair. It just goes back. It just looks nice and flat. Looks so good. It's IP. I cardstock it up. It's what I do. It's what we used to do back in the days. When we wanted on our flight, warrior flight. It's just a little extra to make the evaluators go, wow, these people care. All right, so let's wrap this up. This is a long video. I apologize. I'm going to recap on the most important things. First of all, have enough to tuck. Have enough to tuck. Give them time to fail. So top sheet, top blanket is your moneymaker. When you first start out bottom sheet, you might want to do about 3 or 4 sets of, hey, we want this to be put on 85% in under 90 seconds, 2 minutes to 90 seconds. Just slap it on there. And then take your time on the top sheet, top blanket. We talked about the rolling under the bed to make it really, really tight, or to fan it or wave it out. and then tuck all the excess under. Notice I didn't use any clipboards. I hate clipboards. Because clipboards just tuck, it doesn't tighten. Once your flight knows how to do beds, and people walk in, you're gonna, because that's the first thing they notice is your beds. So I hope it was really clear. I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you need anything, somebody has my information in BMT. So just hit me up. All right, God bless. Take care.